Welcome to Wellness Made Easy with Wendy and Kirsten. Hi, I'm Wendy. After I graduated with my master's in wellness management, I started my own company, T2 Coaching, Health, Fitness, and Sport. And I'm Kirsten, an athlete, vegan, life coach, and girl mom, running a business focused on helping others create a life they love. We are here to explore all things wellness to help you become the person you've always wanted to be. So if that's why you're here, open your ears and your mind as we tackle the world of wellness together.
Hey, everybody. Hi, Wendy.
Hi, Kirsten. How are you?
I am doing really good today. I'm feeling motivated and want to be productive. So that's a good feeling because it's been waning the past 3 weeks. And I feel back to feeling like I want to get organized. And that's always a good feeling for me.
Yeah, that sounds
How
great.
about you?
Well, productive is in the mind of the beholder.
Yes.
Talked a little bit about what productivity means
Yes.
to us and anyone else out there. I'm good. I strained my back.
Oh, no.
Last Friday, I bent over while I was coaching the kids in the morning to pick up a parachute, and I could barely stand up. And I think it stems from, I just cannot get dialed in on my tri bike. Not that this is the first time. My whole life, I've not been a fan of tri bikes. Because I have a custom road bike. It's 18 years old and I love it. Fits me. And so I'm just really been struggling, like getting off my bike every time with back pain. And I've been increasing my training to 2 times a week on it and getting ready for this race. And then I bent over. And again, I think it stems from the tri bike. And thankfully, I already had a massage scheduled and my chiropractor was available right afterwards and straightened me out. But I walked in, I was crooked. I could not stand up straight. I couldn't contract my core. Everything was just shut down. And so they kind of set me up for the weekend. And then I went back Monday, very much able to stand up straight. Running is better. I just didn't want to run because that's where it hurts. I mean, like on Saturday, I'm like, I don't think I'll ever run for the rest of my life. That's how bad it was.
Right.
And so I'm doing better. I'm just following the guidelines. I see my chiropractor tomorrow and she said, I want you to ride your tri bike before I see her. Cause if it hurts, she'll figure it out. She'll straighten me out.
Right.
I think it's totally muscular. So again, my one try of the year is September 5th. I'm kind of like, I may go, I haven't even registered yet.
Right.
I may do the sprint just to get my check off because I can walk 3 miles is better than walking 6 miles in my mind right now. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Well, I'm glad
How I'm doing. That was a question. How are you doing? That's it.
Well, and it's interesting because when something, I had a little setback this week too. And I find that when something just happens and your body feels like you said, oh my gosh, I'm never going to be able to run again. Or you think like, oh my gosh, this is awful. And then as it starts getting better, you're like, okay, this is not the end of the world. I had one of my athletes that I coach, she crashed on her mountain bike last night. She was doing a night ride because she's training for an adventure race. And she's like, my ribs are sore, my hip is sore, all this stuff is sore. And I was like, yes, I know I've crashed on my bike before. I've been injured before, but don't let it discourage you. Take care of it and just keep, like we always talk about, a positive mental attitude or a positive mindset about it, because when you're in it, it feels horrific, even if it's just a small little niggle or an injury and it's ruining your plans for whatever you have coming up. It feels awful.
Yeah. And I haven't had again, backs are so sensitive. It could be so many things, which again is going to lead into this podcast that we're talking about, thriving after age 50. I mean, things just happen, things just change, especially for women, probably when they hit 40. But again, I have 33 years of wear and tear on my body. Plus I'm a master's athlete. Things are bound to happen. And when they do, I think about all the other people I know who have back problems or other issues that are kind of unexplainable. It just happens.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, this isn't that bad. And at the same time, I'm in a lot of pain. That back pain sucks.
Yeah, back pain is bad. It's because it's connected to every other part of your body.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, I had I've just had a little hip like tightness in my glute that's affecting my hip. So it's been just always sore, and it hurts mostly when I walk. And I've run a little bit, and it doesn't hurt when I run, but then after I run, it's like so tight. And I went to jujitsu 2 days ago, and I was like, okay, if it hurts while I'm doing this, I'm not going to do it because I have a race coming up in 9 days. And I decided it didn't hurt. It just hurt like if I was to hop on one foot, it would hurt. But that's not what I'm doing in jujitsu. It didn't hurt any movement. So I did jujitsu. We did a 6-minute round, which is nonstop 6 minutes of like wrestling, basically. I get done. I feel nothing during. I tapped out once, but other than that, like I felt really strong. I was drenched in sweat. I'm like, I just worked really hard. And I get up and I could barely stand up. My hip hurt so bad. And then my throat started hurting. And then throughout the day, everything started hurting worse. So I couldn't talk. It hurt to swallow. So eating was painful. I had like a huge like bruise through on my neck, on my throat, around my throat. So I must have gotten like pushed on my esophagus during like a choke or something like that I didn't realize at the time. Because if something hurts, I always tap out. It's no big deal. But so that was Tuesday. So all day yesterday, I was like, I was talking like this because it hurt. I had to teach my class. It hurt when I walked. And I'm like, what have I done to myself? Like, and I was such in a bad place. Right. I was so frustrated. And I'm like, why did I do that? I'm just going to quit doing jujitsu. This is ridiculous, blah, blah, blah. And then today, and I did take ibuprofen and Tylenol so I could sleep because I had a hard time sleeping Tuesday. So I took that last night. And so now it's 2 days later. My throat is still sore when I swallow. My hip is still a little sore. But compared to where I was yesterday, I'm a million times better. So it's just a reminder that like, nothing's permanent. We've talked about that before on the podcast, whether it's good or bad, nothing's permanent.
And my thing right now is sitting. I'm going to be squirming because I can't sit for very long.
Yeah.
So sitting bothers my back. And so right now I've experienced aches and pains from sitting, especially when I broke my knee, and that's all I could do was lie on the couch. But like sitting, getting out of the car is bad. Sitting right now is bad. I prefer to lay down on my back. It feels so good, especially with an ice pack. So, I mean, sitting's an activity of daily life.
Right.
Because standing still bothers me. Like the one thing that bothers my leg since I broke my patella is standing. And so when I coach the kids, I prefer to sit. And now that my back hurts, I'm kind of like, I don't like to sit either. It's more painful to sit on my lower back than it is on my right leg to stand for a long period of time. So yeah, that's it. That's just part of life and aging.
So one other thing, and then we got to get into it, but reminded me, I have a friend and he apparently watches our podcast. I didn't know. And I saw him last week and he was like, you should tell Wendy not to lay down again for the podcast. He goes, why was he's like, why was she laying down? And I was like, well, she was on vacation and she was laying down and she was like, I think I'm just going to lay down. And he was like, yeah, I was watching it the whole time and it just seemed kind of weird that she was laying down.
We talked about it at the start of the podcast.
I know, but I think it's interesting that like that's what stood out for him.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because again, I was at a swim meet. I was in a hotel. It was like 8:00 at night, my time.
Yeah.
And that's why I was laying down. There was really no place to sit. There was it was a cheap hotel. There was really no place to go except lie in my bed.
Yeah. And I think the majority of people don't watch this anyway.
Yeah.
I'm counting on that because Wendy and I never really get ready, quote, what people call getting ready anyway for life. So what you see is what you get with me and Wendy. So really briefly, what is
out of all comments about our podcast, that was a comment.
That's why I had to bring it up because it made me laugh. I was like, But the good news is, I guess he watches our podcast.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't have as many male. When I look at our demographic, there aren't as many males, and so I was like, oh, at least he's watching our podcast.
Yeah. Thanks for the feedback.
I know. So anyway, what is your wellness win?
Oh, I mean, I guess, doing what I have to do to get over my back pain. Like taking the time to hot tub and ice bath and being grateful that I have those luxuries at the health club that I coach the kids at. So I'm always there every day, and I'm taking the time to do it, because I don't always take the time to do stuff like that. But I'm like, no, I have to go in that cold plunge after, and I do it after I coach, and I have to do it because it feels so amazing. And that was really something that might help. I don't know if that's helping, but I'm going to do everything that might help my lower back.
Yeah.
And
that's
so
interesting.
I think that's a wellness win. I'm investing in my lower back right now.
That's pretty much my wellness win too. Exactly what you just said is that because my hip was hurting, and I have a race coming up next week, a weekend, like 9 days or whatever it is now. I have been foam rolling and stretching my hip like 45 minutes a day.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, why don't I do this? Because this always happens. I'm sure it always happens with you when you get injured. Like you said, you'll do whatever it takes to get better.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of, well, in addition to making it an everyday habit to, like, if I foam rolled and stretched every day for 45 minutes, I probably, because mine is more of a muscular, probably
Mm-hmm.
overuse imbalance.
Mm-hmm.
So if I took the time every day instead of just wait till I'm injured and then all of a sudden I make the time to foam roll and I
Right.
make the time to add in those extra stretches, I schedule it into my workout. So if I have an hour, this happened yesterday, I had an hour, I did my workout for 45 minutes and then I stretched and foam rolled for 15. And I
Right.
normally don't do that.
Right.
So, and that kind of actually leads us into what we are talking about today. We're talking about, like Wendy said, life over 50, 50 meaning 50 years old. Wendy and I are both, just barely over the line. We're both 52. And we've talked about things on the podcast before, like hormones. We've both gone through menopause, what changes in our lives over 50, but we've never really done one episode about it and kind of summarized all these different life changes that are physical, mental, emotional, in all areas of life. We were thinking about relationships, we're thinking about hobbies, we're thinking about preventative medicine, we're thinking about things more than just what people think. I feel like people are like nutrition, exercise, weight loss, and hormones. I feel like when people think of getting older, those are like the things, but there's so much more about it, like sleep, nutrition needs, how we see ourselves, with media, social media, with people going, this is 50, and they take this cute selfie where they look like they're like 35. And then you look at your picture and you're like, oh gosh, compared to that lady, this is 50. No, I don't feel like that. And so just kind of going over maybe some of these things. And one of the things that's happened to me this last week is I just started wearing a Whoop, like about 2 weeks ago, I think now, maybe 3 weeks. I can't remember. But it's a wearable. It just keeps track of your heart rate, your body temperature, your breath rate, stuff like that. It has a sensor, and then it gives you feedback and like heart rate variability, how much sleep you need. And if you're doing a lot of exercise, it says, go to bed now to recover. And it tracks a bunch of stuff. And it's really interesting. And one of the things it's been telling me lately is that your heart rate variability is up, your recovery is perfect, you are at peak performance today, go get them. Like, that's what it says every morning. And I feel like, oh my God, I'm exhausted, everything hurts, I'm not at peak performance. So I was thinking today, it might be because I'm older, my body has been doing this, like Wendy said, for a long time. Maybe this is what I'm just going to feel like. So instead of being like, oh, I'm exhausted, being like, I can still go out, and if I did a 5K right now, even though I feel exhausted, my body would rally and do a great 5K, which is what this data is telling me. And so maybe just shifting, we talk about shifting mindset a lot, in that I don't feel exhausted. This is my baseline, and I can perform better if I want, and I could have more energy if I want. But being okay with, like, instead of like, oh, I feel exhausted, what can I do to make it better? Probably to outside people, I don't seem exhausted because I'm really not. I think I just want to feel like wake up out of bed and not have to like take my first 2 steps so gingerly to see what's going on with my body today. Do my feet hurt? Is my back going to give out? What are my muscles doing? Those first like 2 minutes when you wake up and you're moving and you're like, oh God, am I going to be able to make it today? And then by this time of the day, I feel great.
Yeah, I mean, the aging thing is real. As a personal trainer for so many years, I'd be personal training men and women over age 40, 50, 60 years old. And they would tell me, and I'm like, I wasn't there yet. So I'm like, oh, I don't know if that's going to happen to me, but I'm not going to say yes or no, but I'll just wait and see if it happens to me. And I think I started noticing some changes when I hit 45, definitely at age 50. And when I was approaching age 50 3 years ago, from 49 to 50, I'm like, I'm going to be the fittest I've ever been in my life at age 50. I'm going to prove everyone wrong. Ha 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 ha. I was pretty fit at age 49. And then broke my patella at age 50, and that changed everything. And so could I have been fitter or not? Who knows? Who cares? It doesn't matter. Regarding like the wearable, again, what metrics matter? I think those wearables are confirmation of how you feel, but you need to know how you feel, and you can't live life with data, with confirmations like that. You cannot live your life like that. I had an athlete who shared on social media her Garmin, unproductive, poor recovery, you need a day off. And she had a 75-mile ride that day. And I'm like, how do you feel? What are you going to do? And she goes, I just didn't sleep well. And that's why her Garmin was telling her that, plus the training load. But the subjective details of, I know I didn't sleep well, so that's why my data is different. It's not just the training. She didn't sleep well. She went and had an amazing 75-mile ride. Her Garmin, some people would have looked at that Garmin and would have modified and would have had this mental case of, oh my God, my Garmin's telling me I'm exhausted. My HRV is a certain number. I need to rest. Yes and no. Really, it's just really becoming in tune with your body. So even though my back is feeling pretty much almost back to normal, I'm just feeling my normal ache and pain that I feel when I get off the bike. I still need to be very careful. I mean, I still can't just do any quick bend over, twist turns. I mean, I'm still really in this body awareness phase of, you're not 100% yet. It's your back, it's your core. You could tweak it at any given moment right now. Just really be aware of your body. And just know for those listening who are not at the age, who will be, things just change. It is going to happen, and everyone's different. Everyone is different. And if you're a female, perimenopause, menopause, I mean, we all try to follow the standard recommendations, lift heavy weight, eat more protein. But what we're feeling is going to vary from female to female. It's not a guarantee that you're going to feel like your friend, or put on 20 pounds like your friend, or get hot flashes, or get lockjaw, or get frozen shoulder. These are all things that can happen with those hormonal fluctuations. So it's just really paying attention to yourself and being aware.
Yeah, it's like if you've ever been pregnant, for any of you female listeners out there, you could read like, oh, in your first trimester, you're supposed to gain this much weight. In your second trimester, you're supposed to gain this much weight. I know people in their third trimester who gained 50 pounds, and I know people in their third trimester who gained 10 pounds. Both had very healthy babies and have no issues. So it's kind of like Wendy said, like aging really varies person to person. And I think and we'll talk about some of the things that occur. And we're only coming from female. We're both women. So we can speculate about men just because we both coach men. We both coach older men. We both train older men. and, kind of some of where they're coming from, but our personal experience, we're coming from being 50-year-old women. And one thing that I think is really funny to think about, and you can tell me if you've thought about this, but when I was a kid and I thought about being 50, my visual of my life was that I was using a walker or a cane, that I was a slow, hunched over grandma with a bunch of grandkids. I was in a job about to retire and just hang out with my grandkids all day and give them presents and live in a house with a husband. And it's so interesting because I never, as a younger kid, and this I'm saying kid, like even in my 20s, this is what I thought being 50 was like. Even as a quote kid or a young adult, I really saw myself as an old, like barely getting around woman. Whereas in reality, I'm definitely am not in the best shape of my life, but I'm pretty damn close. Like I can off the couch, which I don't even know what off the couch is for us because we're never off the couch unless we're really injured or recovering from surgery. But like I can go kick ass physically. I'm very sharp mentally. And I think it's a lot about how we see ourselves in the moment, because I don't see myself as that. I see on social media people like, oh, I'm 50, this, like low energy and low outlook on negative outlook on life. Whereas I see myself even more positive, more energetic with a better outlook as I get older.
Yeah. So on that note, I've never ever in my life imagined myself as a 50-year-old. Like I've never had those thoughts or feelings. I guess I thought I was going to be dead before 50. I mean, I don't know. I mean, because I've always been a very present person, very present, very live life, what's presented to you today or tomorrow, but really not much further than that. So it's interesting to hear what you thought of as a 50-year-old, because I've never had those feelings. One visual I have, because I've seen a lot of pictures on and off throughout my life, is my mom at age 40. We have a birthday cake. She's 40 years old. She's super thin. She was probably at one of her peak, fitnesses as a runner. She was a marathon runner and she looked very young. And so I think because I saw my mom at age 40, I thought age 40 was old as a young adult. I thought age 40 was old, but the presentation of what my mom looked at age 40 was very young, active, thin, beautiful. Like, so it didn't look old. It just, the sense of being 40 sounded old, but it didn't look old to me. As a fitness coach, personal trainer type of person, most of our lives, you've trained two 50-year-olds. One is gray bearded hair, one isn't. Because one's never done an activity in their life, one has been active their whole life. They're both 50 and they could look completely different. This guy could be completely ripped, 6% body fat. This guy could have a beard and gray hair and be
a big belly.
Big belly, and they're both 50. So it's amazing sometimes to see the age, to know the age of someone when they look older. That's the worst feeling, when they look so much older than what they really are. You kind of feel like, oh gosh, they just didn't live the lifestyle that person did or that I did, and no fault of theirs, that's just how it is. I think which leads me to think the most important thing about aging is maintaining your mobility. So you don't fall and break a hip when you're older, because, let's face it, especially women, you hit menopause, you're going to lose some bone mass. You're going to be more at risk for falls and fractures and hip fractures. So maintaining that mobility so you can stay upright when you slip on something or trip on something is so important. And I think, that's not necessarily stressed enough. I think the nutrition part is, but not the mobility part and the strength training part of getting older. It's definitely more out there. It's more talked
Yeah.
about these day and age, but as of recent 5 or 10 years, it's not like we grew up knowing as we were aging growing up that we needed to maintain mobility and strength. Thankfully, as athletes, we did, but the person who's not athletic didn't know. They know now and they're shocked. And it's kind of, some people are like just shocked by it.
Right. So we talked about this a lot last week about functional training, and all that is everything we talked about last week with that functional training to physically keep your body mobile and healthy, so that if you do take a spill, if you do trip or fall down the curb or slip on the ice, it's not devastating. It's just a little, you're like, oh crap, I twisted my ankle, it hurts for a week.
Right.
Because you're throwing out your back to somebody else, that could be a 2-month recovery.
Right.
But you have the good core muscles to kind of let everything get into place after your chiropractor manipulated it. Your core muscles are like, okay, this is where we're supposed to be. Let's make sure.
And it had to do with also my ribs being out of place, however that happens. One thing I just thought of is as we age, a lot of 50-year-olds are retiring, like I don't think as much retire at age 50 as they did, 10, 20 years ago. But I mean, people are retiring. I've never thought about retirement in my life. I mean, maybe now because I'm married, I know everything's going to be okay financially because I am married to a husband who's a nurse and he's going to have retirement more than I'm going to have retirement. But like, definitely goals and priorities changed for me. And I think as an older adult, even an older athlete, I think priorities change because you do have kids, you do have grandkids, you have different people that are counting on you. So when you take a spill on your bike, and this happened to a recent friend, athlete of mine, he 70 years old, he took a spill on his bike and his hip and his leg is like 100% bruised, hematoma. Maybe something is broken. It's only been a week, but it's kind of like that happened because he's 70 years old. And now he's rethinking, oh, do I want to really like take risks in the sport
Right.
as a 70-year-old because I have grandkids, So I think those priority shifts definitely change. And I have step kids and I have step grandkids. So it's a little different for me, but I know that happens.
Yeah, that's actually on my list of I made kind of jotted down a list of things that are different, and risk, your aversion to risk or how you deal with risk is actually on my list. So I think that's definitely something that changes as you get older, because you realize you are not invincible and you can break when I was in my 40s, I broke my collarbone. And I remember people saying, oh yeah, my son broke his collarbone and he was back up and running in 2 weeks. And I'm like, how old was your son? 8? I'm like, well, I'm in my 40s. I feel like it might be a little longer of a recovery, and it affects more people. And I didn't even have a child then. That was before I had Cora. Now, even so, yesterday when I was in my bad headspace of oh my God, my throat hurts, I can't talk, my hip hurts, I'm not going to be able to race in a week. Like, what am I doing? This is ridiculous. Cora, my daughter, is very energetic and interactive, and she likes chit-chatting a lot, and she likes my responses. And she was wanting to practice a team cheer with me. And she was like, you start. And I'm like, Cora, my throat hurts really bad when I talk. And she was like, well, you can just whisper. And I'm like, it hurts just as bad when I whisper. And so my risk of doing jujitsu as a 50-year-old isn't just me maybe hurting myself, but now it's affecting my child because I can't, I was like, I just wanted to go to bed. I just wanted to lay in my bed and feel sorry for myself. And she wanted to play. And you can't fault her. She's 7 years old and I usually play with her. Mm-hmm. So it's rethinking that risk. And if you would have asked me yesterday, I was about to quit jujitsu altogether. Today, I woke up, I feel 50% better in one day. and I'm okay, and we'll go to fight another day.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all, again, mindset and having a strong why to do what you're going to do. I think one thing I thought of as you were talking is time goes by really quickly as you age. And I had heard this as a younger person, but it really is true. Like the first 25, 30 years of your life kind of go by slow relative to the next 20 or 30 years of your life after 30. I mean, time just goes by so much faster. Like we're at the end of August and I'm like, oh my God, the holidays are almost here again. It seemed like we just got over the holidays and they're already coming back. People are starting to talk about Halloween already. But like time just goes by so much faster as you age. And that's an interesting concept. That's just, again, it's a mindset thing. And I also want to say, we're talking a lot about sport because that's what we do. I think it's important to not assume you're going to slow down and not make these assumptions that you still can't have these big audacious goals, fitness or nutrition or health goals as you age, because that's absolutely false to say, oh, just because you're older, that doesn't mean you can't improve.
Right. And it's interesting. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, because I just met with one of my athletes right before we recorded today. And one of the things she said is, because she's trying to decide, she wants to get faster and better at everything. And so I talked to her about maybe like specializing a little more or focusing, like we talk about all the time, even with periodization of you have your ultra season and you have your fast season and you're getting faster. And then when you go back to ultra season, you're probably not going to get much faster. And so we talked about that. And she said, well, I said, well, what lights you up? Do you want to do full Ironman? Keep doing a full? Do you want to do a half? She started doing some trail running. So I was like, what do you want to do? And she was like, well, I should probably do something long because I'm not getting any younger. And I said, actually, I have friends who just now at our age and she's a couple of years older than me. She finally sent her third kid off to college. So she's been raising 3 kids for the last 20 years. So she hasn't had a ton of extra time, but she's been competing. She's been, but now she has 3 kids. Her third kid went off to college. She actually has time to put into some longer distance stuff. She now has time to add in another strength training day, another yoga day, to be a little bit more well-rounded and balanced. Whereas when she was raising 3 kids, she probably got in her bikes, her swims, and her runs. That's all she had time to do. So I think that's exactly what you said, Wendy. That's why I brought it up. It's the mindset shift and thinking like, don't box yourself in and think, oh, well, I better do this stuff now because when I get older, I won't be able to. It's different for everyone. Mm-hmm. Some people, as they get older, they're able to do more because, like Wendy said earlier, they might be retiring. They might be done raising their kids. Not done. You guys know what I mean. They don't have their kids in their house. And you might have more money as you get older to put into your training or your sport or to hire a coach or to get better equipment. So I think it was so important what you just said is like, don't lock yourself into a belief about what you can and can't do when you're older, because these days, and Wendy and I, one reason that makes us hard coaches and personal trainers for you people getting older to deal with is because in our sport, we have amazing older humans doing extraordinary feats. Like I think at the last World Championships for Ironman that I did, that was male and female, a man, 80, I want to say 86 or 87.
Yeah.
Finished the Kona Ironman.
Yep.
So you can't come to Wendy and I you can't come to us and say, oh, when you're 60 and be like, oh, I'm too old for that. I'm like, you don't know about these amazing people in our sport.
Yeah. And again, if you want to do it, there's going to be a way to do it. You might not be able to do it the way I do it or the way she does it or he does it, but there's a way that we can get you to do it safely for you and realistic for you. I think that's important. And I also want to stress, I've talked about this before. We are masters athletes with 30 years of experience. Our progression in the future is going to be different than someone who's 52 who has 2 years experience. They're going to flourish and blossom and continue to get faster based on their starting point versus us. We've been doing it for so long. We do hit that plateau. We are going to hit a decline. I've accepted that. That's okay. I'm just, all I can do is focus on what I can control and be at the fittest, fastest, longest endurance athlete I can be at where I am right now. I'm not comparing myself or going back to the I wish I was blah blah blah, because that's not going to happen. Why even put energy into that? Because kind of live with where you are now and accept what you got to do and accept what you get to do in the future.
Yeah, and that's huge for Wendy to say, because if you guys are just listening to us for the first time, she actually won first place female amateur overall in Kona for the Ironman World Championships one year. And she could easily be sitting here almost 20 years later being like, oh man, remember the good old days when I was first place at the Ironman? I wish I could do that again. There's not a 50-year-old that's going to win overall at a world championships.
And for years, I wanted that feeling. I wanted to be at that place again for years after that. But now I'm like, oh my gosh, I get to still talk about it. I get to still tell people I'm a world champion. That's a major deal.
Yeah.
And at that time, I had set that record for my age group. I think it was 35. I was an age group record holder for a short amount of time until the next year or two, someone broke it. Like, that is just incredibly amazing to have experienced that. And I'm so lucky and grateful that I did. And now I get to experience other things like, seeing how fast I can run a 5K at age 52, seeing how long I can go, maybe 50K, 50 miler, maybe I'm going to do another 100 miler in my near future. But it's just all about focusing on the controllables, where you're at in life, and managing everything and the gratitude of it all. We talk about gratitude a lot.
Right. What I love, and it's the new way that Ironman is actually doing its world championship slots. But I do this little race called the Park Run, which is a free 5K. They have it every Saturday morning all over the world. So check it out. See if there's one near you. But it's age and gender grading. And what they do is they have a formula where they put in your time. And I don't know the formula. I don't know how it works, but it spits out an order that is changed from first to last place based on your age and gender. So, for example, last Saturday, I did the park run. I think I was like 20th place overall. But I always like to check the age and gender grading, and then they replace it by your age and gender. So that it levels everyone out and puts them on the same playing field. And then you can rank yourself, because I can't rank the girl who won, the girl who got first place ran like a 19-minute 5K. I can't run a 19-minute 5K. I never have. I'm like, my fastest is right under 20. I guess that is a 19-minute. It's like 19:59. But I ran a 24-minute 5K. Based on me being a woman and me being 52, that put me 7th place out of everybody instead of 20th, just as is time. So I really like age grading and gender grading, so that if you like the comparison thing, which I do, I'm competitive. I feel like if you are competitive, you compare.
So do I.
So the age graded will take your gender and your age into consideration and then place you amongst where you would fall with that new number. And I think it's really cool.
Yes, I do too.
So really quickly, let's go through maybe some tips for people who are struggling? Because you and I talk a lot about like, we're thriving, like everything is great. We have the good mindset. We're positive. We're energetic. To us, the important things, sleep, functional training, good nutrition is helping us feel good throughout menopause, after menopause, and all this stuff. But I think we're the exception, not the rule. And so maybe we can go over just a couple things in each category that people can do, or maybe a challenge to somebody who's struggling in these categories to help them get to a level or a place where they're feeling better about this aging process. So let's just do physical, mental, and emotional, because we kind of like those categories. So
Right.
what are a couple things, even if we've talked about them on podcasts before, this might be, the first podcast somebody found us on. So what are a couple of physical things people can look for or do?
Like we talked about, like strength and mobility wise.
Yeah. Like
Yeah,
that could be one is
I
strength.
think so. First of all, like not everyone is thriving, but they can. And I'm a firm believer, even if you have to go see a therapist to help with your mindset, I'm a firm believer when you speak positively about yourself and you have this acceptance of where you're at, and you have the knowledge base, the education base, either working with a coach, personal trainer, therapist, whatever, to get you to be where you want to be. If you're struggling with where you're at physically, emotionally, mentally, it's important to surround yourself with other people, and again, seek out that therapy and help create that positive energy and that self-acceptance, and switching your mindset and providing that path of where you want to get to, from point A to point B of where you want to go. I think that's such a worthwhile investment when you start investing in yourself. I know there could be people out here who are just depressed. And when you're depressed, it's a hard place to get out of. I just want to encourage the therapy, and that's, I think, the best place to help you get out of that depressed state of mind. You may have to go on some medication. There's nothing wrong with that. But as far as like the key things to keep in mind as you get older physically, that strength and mobility, there's a lot of things you can do. Strength and mobility, that's body weight, as well as machines and free weight oriented. Again, getting with that professional to help guide you in the right direction, so you don't have to figure it out on your own, even if it's a friend or family member. I think that's important. I think it's important as you age, especially for the athlete, but even for a non-athlete, is you do need to incorporate more recovery, and you do need to prioritize it and make time for it. Like you had said, cutting your workout 20 minutes short to do the mobility on the foam roller. Setting a timer to make sure you have better sleep hygiene, and try to go to bed at the same time and wake up at the same time every night and every morning, I think is really important to get into a better sleep hygiene, better sleep habits. If you are going through some menopausal, hormonal, or if you're a guy going through some testosterone issues, there's treatment plans out there. You just have to talk to someone you trust about it, and how to try to seek out the best therapy for you regarding those hormonal fluctuations. And it's never too late to start something new physically. I think that's important. To again, it's a mindset thing. It's a struggle. I can't relate to that because I've always been active, but I work with inactive people and I've helped them become more active. So again, it's just investing in your health.
Yeah. And like Wendy said, like, seek out a professional. And she was talking in all areas, physical, mental, and emotional. You can take, like, I work at a gym as a personal trainer, and somebody could come in. It's a rec center. It's the City Park Fitness Center. So anyone can come in. You don't have to be a member of the gym, and you can buy an intro package. It's 3 sessions for $79. So in 3 sessions, you can get a program written out for you that works for you and your time and your body, and you can get started with that. So seeking out somebody who, instead of you spending 8 hours watching videos, trying to figure out what you need, if you're not somebody who's been in a gym before and you feel kind of stuck and you're like, I don't even know what a foam roller, I don't even know what you guys are talking about, what a foam roller is. So these are things that a professional can help you out. They're very effective and efficient, and you can go to a rec center. You don't have to spend hundreds of dollars for a gym membership and then spend $100 on top of that for your personal training session. You can find ways. And like Wendy said, most of us have a friend or a family member who has more knowledge than we do. And you could be like, hey, can I pay you X amount for you to just help me get started with the functional training plan or a simple training plan? But I recommend a professional.
There's too much out there online. It's too confusing.
It's too confusing, and it'll take you a lot longer to do that.
Yeah.
And then same with mental and emotional, even like a life coach. So when I do life coaching stuff, like Wendy said, we can help you get from point A to point B in any area of your life. So if you're trying to retire, if you need to save money, if you're trying to change your job, if you're trying to get into a relationship, get out of a relationship, wherever you're trying to go, talking to a professional, a life coach, a therapist, someone that can give you a plan, just like a personal trainer would give you a physical plan to get you to where you want to be. I agree with Wendy that we need to shift our mindset and how we see ourselves, because I also believe there's not too many things that we've missed the boat on once we're 50. Maybe becoming like a professional athlete but I mean, there's stranger things have happened. People starting, like I know there's a couple swimmers who started when they added open water swimming to the Olympics. Some older swimmers who maybe had never swam at an Olympic level because they can't crush a 200 free, but they could crush a 10K open water swim. There was their opportunity. So you just never know.
Yeah. So I was just thinking, thriving after 50. My mom is thriving after 70. My father passed away a couple years ago, and we moved her into an independent living facility. It's like a 5-star resort. It's fantastic. But she's just thriving there, because she has the community. She's around people who are like her, who are active older adults that can still take care of themselves, but they need just a little bit of help. So they're in this community, and there's just so many activities and so many things to do. So stressing the community support, joining some sort of meetup group, going to your local rec center, go to the library, just go to a venue where there's people and you're not alone, and interact and engage and find some new hobbies, do something new. I mean, life after 40, life after 50, it's just a new chapter in your life to experience new things. Like for me, I'm reading. I'm up to, I think, 18 books. I think I have 7 more to finish out my 25 book goal for the year, but that's just something new. And that's something I can share with my husband because he's a big reader. So now we have kind of another thing that we get to share together. So community support, I think, is really important for mental and emotional wellness.
Yeah, my dad and his wife live in an active older adult community as well, and she started belly dancing as an older adult. That was her hobby that she picked up as she got older, and now in this community she teaches belly dancing, and she likes to sew, so she sews all the outfits.
Love it.
She this is something she picked up well over 50 in, like Wendy said, these communities. And my dad, he plays tennis every morning with his peers, and it keeps him active and mobile and keeps him young and alive. And he's been a tennis player his whole life. He was a tennis pro for a while, so he can help coach these other tennis players. And giving back is a huge lift mentally and emotionally for people, to be of service. And so if you get stuck as you get older and you're like, oh, I can't do it anymore because this, go back to gratitude, go back to service. We talk about that all the time to make yourself feel like more grateful and that you're giving. And those two things, service and gratitude, are things that anyone can do despite your age, despite your physical capabilities, and despite where you are in your life. Those are things that are free that you can give and get.
Perfect.
Amen. All right, really quickly, what are you excited for this week?
Again, that's a tough one because plans change because of my back. Tomorrow I might be riding with an athlete that I used to coach. I stopped coaching him because he stopped racing because of his life issues at age 70. He's the one that just got in a crash, but I asked him to go for a bike ride with me tomorrow to see how he's doing and to ease back into the bike and he's not alone, because he had a really bad crash. So I'm kind of looking forward to catching up with him. Hopefully it'll work out in our schedules. And then
and that's service. That's you being of service. So it's going to do great things for you as well.
It's going to yeah, exactly. So I'm really looking forward to that. It just depends on his work schedule tomorrow. So we'll touch base tonight. It's cooler. The temperatures are fall-like here in Georgia. So that's been really nice to look forward to, just being outside and not sweating as soon as I hit the pavement.
Right. I'm really looking forward to, I have my daughter this weekend, but we don't have much planned at all.
Good.
There's nothing really going on. We might do the park run because she said she wants to do the 5K. It would mostly be walking or me carrying her on my back, I imagine. But she wants to do it. And so we might do that. But we just have a weekend full of not too many plans. So I'm looking forward to just chilling with my daughter. I know. All right, you guys, let us know your life after 50, how it feels, if there's anything you're struggling with that we can chit chat about for the future, because you are our people. Awesome sauce. See you guys next week.
Cool. Make it a great day.
Thanks for being here. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Wellness Made Easy with Wendy and Kirsten. If you want to learn more about us or anything we talked about today, check out the links in our show notes. We would love to know what you think of our podcast and what you want more of. So drop us a comment, send us a message, and help us out by leaving us a rating and a review. And don't forget to let us know your wellness win for this week. Thanks for listening. Make it a great day.